Everything you think you know about Britain's weather this January is about to change, and what I'm seeing in today's models will shock you. For the first time this winter, both European and American forecasting systems are showing the same terrifying pattern developing across our isles. If you live in London, Manchester, Edinburgh, or anywhere across Britain, the next 7 days will determine whether you're prepared for what's coming. I need you to comment your exact location below immediately because what I'm about to reveal affects every single postcode differently. Right now, as you're watching this, you probably think January's been quite mild, perhaps even pleasant for the time of year. Today's temperatures are reaching double digits across southern England. People are out in light jackets, some even questioning if winter will ever arrive. But here's what the computer models discovered overnight that changes absolutely everything about the next 2 weeks. The jet stream, the river of air that controls our weather, is about to do something it hasn't done since the beast from the east. Before I show you exactly what's coming, let me explain why today's pleasant conditions are actually the calm before the storm. Currently, low pressure southwest of Ireland is weakening, sending showery conditions across western regions, including Cornwall, Devon, and Wales. Meanwhile, the real action is happening 30,000 feet above us, where atmospheric forces are quietly repositioning for something massive. What I'm about to show you will make you question every weather app on your phone and every forecast you've heard this week. The jet stream, that powerful band of air flowing from Canada across the Atlantic, is exhibiting behavior that has meteorologists genuinely concerned. As it approaches Britain, instead of maintaining its strength, it's weakening dramatically. And that's when our weather becomes dangerous. When the jet stream weakens over the UK, weather systems don't race through anymore. They stall, they intensify, they dominate. But there's something else happening that the mainstream weather reports aren't telling you about. A massive high-pressure system is building across northern Europe with an intensity that professional meteorologists are calling remarkable. Now, here's where this gets genuinely frightening. High-pressure systems control wind direction, and wind's direction controls where our air comes from. Currently, we're getting southerly winds keeping temperatures around 7 to 10 degrees, but that's about to change catastrophically. What happens next will determine whether Britain experiences normal January weather or something far more sinister. The European and American models are now in frightening agreement about what this high-pressure system will do to our wind patterns. But before I reveal the devastating timeline, you need to understand why your exact location matters more than you've ever imagined. If you're in East Anglia, Norwich, Cambridge, Peterborough, you're in the firing line for what atmospheric scientists call continental domination. London and the southeast, despite urban heat island effects, won't escape what's building across the North Sea. Manchester, Liverpool, and the northwest might think the Pennines will protect them, but elevation becomes your enemy when easterly winds arrive. Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen. You've already seen hill snow, but what's coming will make those flurries look like summer rain. Here's the timeline that will change everything you thought you knew about this January. This weekend appears deceptively calm. Fog, light showers, temperatures holding around 6 to 8 degrees across most regions. Monday and Tuesday maintain this false sense of security, but atmospheric models show the high-pressure system growing stronger by the hour. Wednesday is when everything changes, and I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. The high-pressure system reaches critical mass, shifting from southern Scandinavia to a position that will redirect our entire atmospheric flow. But here's what the models discovered that makes this situation far worse than anyone anticipated. Continental air masses across Eastern Europe aren't as mild as we initially calculated. Temperatures in Moscow are dropping to dangerous levels. When that air reaches Britain through the new easterly flow pattern, temperature drops of 15 to 20 degrees become not just possible, but inevitable. Thursday through next weekend, ensemble forecasting systems show something that should terrify anyone unprepared for continental conditions. The easterly winds strengthen, and here's the critical detail. They don't weaken for potentially weeks. What I'm about to show you represents the most significant atmospheric shift Britain has faced since the historic winter events of 2018. Temperature forecasts for next weekend show maximums struggling to reach 2 degrees across eastern England, with overnight minimums approaching -8. But the truly devastating part isn't just the cold. It's what happens when this continental air meets Atlantic moisture. Snow becomes not just possible, but the dominant precipitation type across vast areas of Britain for potentially the remainder of January. Now, before panic sets in, let me explain exactly how you can prepare and what signs to watch for in your specific area. The good news is we have warning time, something the 2018 beast from the east didn't provide. But preparation must begin immediately. Vehicle preparation becomes critical for anyone travelling beyond their immediate neighbourhood. Antifreeze, battery condition, emergency supplies. Home heating systems need inspection now, not when temperatures plummet. Backup heating options could literally save lives. Food supplies, essential medications, warm clothing. These aren't suggestions anymore. They're necessities for weathering extended cold periods. But here's what most people don't realize about continental weather patterns that could catch you completely unprepared. Elderly relatives, neighbors with health conditions, pets, and garden plants all face genuine danger when temperatures drop this dramatically, this quickly. Pipe insulation becomes urgent, not optional. Burst pipes during extended freezes create disasters that last months beyond the weather event. The psychological impact of sudden weather changes affects entire communities. Society becomes less prepared following mild periods. What happens after next weekend depends entirely on how long this high-pressure system maintains its stranglehold over Scandinavia. Computer models suggest this pattern could persist through February, fundamentally altering spring's arrival across northwestern Europe. The economic implications alone, energy costs, transport disruptions, agricultural damage, will affect every household across Britain. But there's something else developing that could make this situation even more critical than current models suggest. Atlantic storm systems continue approaching from the west, and when they collide with established continental air masses, explosive cyclogenesis becomes possible. That's meteorological terminology for storms that intensify rapidly, producing heavy snow across areas completely unprepared for winter conditions. The most dangerous period arrives around January 25th, when multiple atmospheric factors converge into what could become a historic weather event. Regional variations become crucial for survival planning. Eastern areas face direct continental assault. Western regions experience modified conditions. Coastal areas maintain some Atlantic moderation, but inland regions become isolated islands in a sea of continental Arctic air. Urban heat islands provide minimal protection when air masses this cold establish dominance. London's protection becomes almost meaningless. Transport networks face shutdown scenarios not experienced since 2018. Rail services, road networks, air travel all become compromised. What I need from you right now is absolutely critical for community preparedness and safety planning. Comment your exact location, your primary concerns, and your current preparation level. This information helps prioritize emergency guidance. Are you worried about heating costs, travel disruptions, elderly relatives, or do you have medical conditions requiring special preparation? Your feedback determines which aspects receive the most detailed coverage as this situation develops over the next critical 48 hours. The next model update arrives in 6 hours, and based on current trends, it will either confirm our worst fears or provide unexpected relief. What happens in tomorrow's atmospheric data could change everything I've told you today. That's why constant monitoring becomes essential. Professional meteorologists are watching this development with the kind of intensity reserved for potentially historic weather events. Ensemble forecasting confidence continues increasing rather than decreasing as we approach late January. That's genuinely alarming. When multiple independent forecasting systems maintain agreement this far in advance, it represents unprecedented scientific consensus. The atmospheric physics governing this development follow patterns that produce the most memorable winter events in recent British history. What makes this situation particularly dangerous is the contrast with our exceptionally mild winter start. Nobody's prepared mentally or physically. Emergency services across Britain are quietly beginning preparation protocols based on confidential meteorological briefings. Energy companies monitor these developments with genuine concern. Demand spikes during continental conditions can overwhelm distribution networks. Agricultural communities face potential devastation if livestock and crop protection measures aren't implemented before temperature collapse arrives. Tourism and recreation industries across Scotland and Wales are already cancelling outdoor activities based on preliminary pattern warnings. The cascading effects of extended continental conditions reach every aspect of modern life. Nothing remains unaffected. But here's what gives me hope, despite the severity of what we're potentially facing. Advanced warning systems provide opportunities for preparation that previous generations never had during similar atmospheric events. Community resilience, neighbour support networks, and shared preparation resources can mitigate even the most severe weather impacts. Modern infrastructure, improved building standards, and emergency response capabilities far exceed what existed during historical cold snaps. Knowledge empowers preparation. Understanding what's coming allows proactive responses rather than reactive panic. The key to weathering potential continental conditions lies in methodical preparation and community cooperation, not individual panic. What happens over the next week will test Britain's resilience in ways we haven't experienced for years. Tonight's model updates will provide crucial confirmation or contradiction of current atmospheric projections. Tomorrow morning's comprehensive analysis will either escalate preparation urgency or provide relief from current concerns. Each successive forecast cycle brings us closer to certainty about late January's atmospheric evolution. The scientific community maintains unprecedented focus on this developing pattern due to its potential societal impacts. International forecasting cooperation ensures no atmospheric detail escapes analysis as this situation unfolds. Your personal safety and your family's well-being depend on taking these warnings seriously while maintaining rational perspective. Preparation doesn't require panic, it requires methodical action based on scientific understanding of atmospheric physics. The difference between surviving and thriving during extended cold periods lies entirely in advanced preparation quality. What I'm asking from you now could determine whether this becomes a manageable inconvenience or a life-threatening crisis. Share this critical information with everyone in your network: family, friends, colleagues, neighbours who might not be monitoring weather developments. Community preparation saves lives during extreme weather events. Isolated individuals face exponentially greater risks. Subscribe immediately and enable all notifications, because the next 48 hours will determine whether my worst fears are confirmed. Tomorrow's emergency update will provide either escalated warnings or unexpected relief based on overnight atmospheric developments. The window for preparation is closing rapidly. Every hour of delay increases vulnerability to what may be coming. This could genuinely become the weather story that defines not just January 2026, but the entire winter season across Britain. I'll be monitoring every atmospheric indicator through the night, analysing each model update with the intensity this situation demands. Your survival could depend on information I provide in tomorrow morning's critical update. Stay alert, stay prepared, and remember, knowledge is your most powerful defense against nature's fury. Thank you for trusting me with something this important, and I'll see you tomorrow when everything could change.